So, in one of the last semesters of my degree, I worked as a content writer for ScratchThat Magazine. I cannot stress to you how influential this period of my life was. Literally, I had the best time of my life. Like, nothing will ever top this period. 2023 was the best year ever, and nothing that comes after it will ever be as good as it. Like, it blows my mind. So I know a lot of people's experiences working as writers and within magazines is all different, but I can only speak for my own experience. So these are all the things that working as a content writer for a magazine taught me. So within Scratch That Magazine, there was a team of, I want to say 30 of us, and we were all divided into like different teams. You know, I was a part of the content writing team, and there was 6 of us, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I'm still such close friends with these people. We hang out with each other, and we're always sharing all the writing things we've been doing since graduating. I feel like during this time, I really came out of my shell, and I'm a lot more confident as a person and as a writer than I used to be. It really made me realize how much potential I had and that I could do anything I put my mind to. It was literally capable. I'm capable of anything I can do, of anything that's possible. I'm so proud of all the work I did. I produced some of my best content. It's such an achievement to have done all the things that I did. And working there, it was really easy to make like-minded friends. Like, we were all uni students and we were all into all the same things. We all loved reading all the same things, and so it meant we all got along really well. Like, there were a couple of bad eggs that like really turned things on its side, and it made for really useful assignments at the end of the semester when we could write about all the crazy shit we had to deal with. Other than that, we were all really close. It was great. Like, I would do anything to go back to that time. I got to experience other writers and other writing styles and other kind of genres that people were writing. It's so easy to get caught up in your own head and your own writing that you sometimes forget that there are other writers around. And so it was really nice because every week I'd be reading lots of different works. I'd get to comment on them. I'd be like, wow, this is really good, but I think to make it stronger, we should change this. Or, you know, reading genres, like, I never would have thought to write this. It might not be my style, but it works so well for this person and their own style. It really taught me how to work in a team. Like, I work in a very team-based environment in my day job, but it was really nice to work collectively as a team and we were all working towards one finished product of a magazine. I also learnt not to get caught up in my ego or to compare myself to others. There were a lot of really good writers. There were some who were like better than me and there were some who were worse, but like collectively we were all on like the same level, and it was really nice just to go, hey, there's no one here that's better or shitter than each other. We're all just having a good time. We're all writing really good work. I got really great feedback on my work as well as giving feedback to others. I think the feedback I got really changed the way I write. Even like now, like it's been like well over a year since I did this, and I'm just, the feedback that I got has changed the way I write. Like, I was, pulled out for writing, like this style, or, I think I was, what's the term? I was writing with like a lot of cliches, and they were all like, oh, just make sure you're not falling into too many cliches. And they would go in and highlight each of the cliches that I was using. I was like, wow, that's just such common speech for me that I didn't even realize. And you don't even realize when you're doing something wrong as well. Working in a team is really stressful when there's like one person who doesn't want to play the game, if you know what I mean. We had one team member who just never showed up each week and never handed in quality content to the rules that we had to follow. It was all, oh, the pieces we're writing have to be between 1,500 and 2,500 words. It has to be within that. And we had a team member who was just submitting 5,000 word pieces, and not only was it really long to read, they weren't exactly always the best pieces. And not only that, it took more work and effort to then edit them and proofread them, and then to send it back and go, you need to make these changes. and they just went, no, this is the pieces you're getting it. So not fun at all. The big lesson I learned from this is sticking to really consistent deadlines. I think I had a piece due every 2 weeks, and that date would not budge. So it was good having a really consistent deadline to follow to. I had 2 weeks to write a first draft, edit it myself, have my content team give me some feedback, change it, and have a draft that I think is so ready that all it needs is one last proofread to then send on to the editorial board and the copy editors. And it was really good, and it learnt me to really push out lots of content, but it also told me not to fear like, it wasn't shit quality, but there were some pieces I weren't as happy with in terms of the content in which I'd written. I maybe wrote a piece and I was all like, actually, if I went back, I probably wouldn't have written about that at all. And it taught me not to, I know when it comes to writing, it's such a fight between quantity versus quality, and I'm always trying to put quality into my pieces, but it's all right to have some shitter pieces so that you do have quantity. And because I was just pushing out quantity, I got a lot of pieces published, and it meant that out of the whole content team, I was the person with the most published pieces, even if I wasn't completely over the moon with a lot of them. This experience made me more confident in myself as well as my writing, and everything that happened, even the worst parts, I loved. It was the best time of my life. And it just makes me want to go back and work with a content team again. It makes me want to work for magazines. And I know it's a lot of work and I know it's a lot of effort, but I want to keep doing it. It was a reminder of, oh, that's right. That's why I'm doing this degree. That's why I'm pursuing this career. It brings me such joy. So in my time working for ScratchThat Magazine, we pushed to create 2 zines as well as mini zines. So we had our mini zine that was with our first launch. So a lot of our pieces were done online on the digital website, and all the submission pieces were all up there. But with our first launch, we had a small zine to sell, and it was full of lots of little pieces, mostly poetry and art, because that's all that can fit in such a small piece. But then at the end, we had one zine to sell, and it's a nice little A5 size. It has really wonderful artworks in it. All of the art and writing pieces were submitted, and my own pieces in here as well. Ooh. Actually, this was a piece I really enjoyed writing, especially because it hit really close to home. I wrote about experiences with anxiety and growing up and friends moving on. I do like this one. I haven't looked at this in so long. We also created a horror zine with a lot of the horror pieces that came out of the semester. There just happened to be a lot of horror writers at the time working. So lots of more horror pieces throughout. One of my pieces isn't in here, but there is like a snapshot of like one of my pieces behind me. Don't know if you can tell, but like there's writing behind the text, and this here is one of my stories that was published online, and even though you can't read it in the magazine, it's like technically in there. While I was working with ScratchThat, I was also asked to write a piece for another magazine as well, with Vermilion Groove Garden. And as someone who not only writes but also plays music, it was really easy to write a piece for a music magazine. And the one that I did was Music as Therapy. And it essentially explains my relationship with music and everything I go through as a musician with anxiety and someone who has very large shoes to fill, or so it seems. And it's another piece that I really enjoy, and I want to keep writing music pieces. brings two of my passions together, and I really enjoy it. Working for ScratchThat showed me the importance of having short form pieces published in magazines and such, and it showed me the importance of things like little zines and even little self-published zines. So it's really helped me as a writer know what path to take when I'm leaving university, and I can't thank ScratchThat enough for it. I wouldn't be the person I am today or the writer I am today without ScratchThat. Everything I do now as a graduated student is all thanks to them. All my ideas come from things that I learnt working as a content writer. So thank you all so much for being wonderful. If you like writing content, you can find me over on Instagram and TikTok at Ella Whitney Literature. If you like knowing what I do outside of writing, and if you would like to know more about my music, I have my personal account on Instagram at Ella Whitney Lacey, and you can check out my online portfolio of written works over at ellawhitneyliterature.wordpress.com. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.